I bought another fern from somebody who was advertising it on Facebook, and I quite like it. It's quite a beautiful little fern. It's called a crocodilus fern. Crocodilus. That's due to the pattern on its leaves. It's a beautiful little fern, and it's much thicker leaves and robust leaves, so I should be able to keep it going. Shouldn't keep it here too long because it's winter here now and I've got the gas heater running. I actually keep the ferns in the bathroom, but they don't get a lot of light there. It's a matte glass that lets the light into the bathroom, and that window is pointing, I think it's east. It's an east facing window. But they seem to be okay, because I think these type of plants don't need a lot of light. They don't want wind, and they don't want they want high humidity, and they seem to be doing okay. So what I thought I'd talk about today is something I did a few years ago. I decided I wanted to investigate this story about opening the third eye and kundalini rising and whatever. I watched some videos and read a bit, but I got bored of it and I just went for it. They warn you should not attempt these sort of things on your own. You can get in serious trouble. And I did see some videos on YouTube where some people really got into a painful situation. They've got pain in their bodies. So I decided I will work the chakras, or as I call them, the life centers. So that is one very important component of meeting the source of life. Working your life centers brings you closer to this being of life, the being that supplies you with life, which I actually met in meditation practice. My back is quite sore. The dog damages my back. So don't attempt what the things I'm going to suggest in this video or in a future video. Don't attempt them without working on your chakras for a few weeks, I would say a month or two. I can't remember how long I was working on them when I started the meditative practice. It's a very simple meditative practice, but at that stage I don't think I know what I was doing, but now in retrospect I understand what I was doing. You can't meet this being of life on the physical plane, you meet him on the soul plane. So the meditation that I'm going to suggest is a way of disengaging your soul from the body. And then you can direct your soul to meet this being. It is very scary because on the soul plane, as I said, everything is connected. There is no identity. If you are connected to everything and everything is connected to you, then it means there is no identity. But when you disconnect the soul from the body, it is partially connected to it still. So your consciousness interprets what the soul is experiencing. So I'm not going to tell you what I actually saw, how I saw this being. It's more a mechanistic being than a personal being. It just supplies everyone and everything with life. So this is actually the source of all life. All living beings get its life from it. So in that sense, it's actually personal. I mean, what can be more personal than meeting the source of your life? But the being itself is not very personal. It doesn't communicate. It's just, let's call it an angel. The angel is just doing its job, and that is supplying everything with life. You can actually enter this being, but it is painful. It felt to me like sandpaper being dragged through my innards. What I think that what is happening is this being is separating you from your attachment to physical objects. Like you're very attached to your cell phone or your watch or your car or physical objects, and I think what is happening, that being is breaking that connections. It's ripping you from it, and that is painful. I actually went right into the center of this being, and what I found there I didn't really understand. But the center of this being seemed a bit more organic. Although I decided not to investigate this being. Not to put my scientific mind, because I like to analyze and explore and investigate things, and I decided I'm not going to do it with this being. It just doesn't feel. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. You get very emotional when you meet this being. It is quite an experience. Now, while I was disconnecting my soul from my body, well, initially when you start that meditation, your system doesn't know what you want from it. So initially the system threw a lot of images and experiences at me. They are relevant, and one of them is actually exactly what I wanted to achieve. But how can I communicate to my system that this is what I want? So one of the experiences was actually exactly what I was trying to achieve. It was sort of like a vacuum sucking my soul up and bringing it to the place where I want the soul to go. Focusing it there, because as I say, you have to get the soul to exit the body. Now the soul, it's not a natural process. Only when you go asleep the soul naturally disconnects from the body, but doing it in a meditative practice is not natural. So you have to force the process. What I did is I actually got myself sort of angry, and I really pushed. It's like a chick being born. It has to pick through the shell, and has to really be determined to get out, or like a baby being born. It's you have to push this process, otherwise it won't happen. In my case, I disconnected from several parts of my body. When I came back out of the meditation, I found I was disconnected from the face, the eyes, the tongue, my arms and my hands. So you can see it is the parts of the body that you are mostly aware of during the daytime. You are very connected to those parts during the day. They're very active. So that is the parts I disconnected from. So in that respect, I won't be able to actually guide you in the meditation, because I wouldn't be able to speak. I'm going to disconnect from the body. So I can't go into the meditation and talk to you. So I'm not sure I can actually, but I'll tell you what I did. Something else that happened during the meditation or before the meditation is that a sort of person came to me. He just came. Nothing extraordinary about him, and he had a robe on, not brightly colored. It was no show off what, and somehow I immediately knew what his intention was. He didn't scare me or anything. These things don't it's never happened to me in the meditation, these sort of things. So all this was new to me, but I felt comfortable with him, and I immediately gave him permission. I said, it's fine, you can do it. And what he did is he actually fused with me, joined up with me, went inside of me, and he became one with me. Initially, I thought he guided me to the step following the disconnection, because there's another step. After you've disconnected, there's another step you have to take to meet up with the source of life. So initially I thought he made that knowledge available to me, but that's not, I think, what he did. What he did is he brought in the greatest gift that you can give anyone, and that is joy. He brought joy and happiness into my life. Now the sad part of the story is I lost all these abilities, and I've been trying to get back there, and I got depressed, and I could sort of do it, but I wasn't happy with what I did. And this morning, as I thought about what I was going to say, I realized that probably one of my mental exercises played a significant role in me getting to this level. Unfortunately, it's a difficult practice, mental practice. It's not easy. So I have to share that with you too. So the things are piling up, the steps you have to take. if you want to try and get there. Hopefully I'll get there in the future. I'm much more optimistic now. I think I'm putting the things together, how I came there. Now, this mental exercise is, it's just a relaxation exercise. It really is to get you in a relaxed and a stable, to stabilize and get your whole nervous system very relaxed. It is a practice that is used to develop super memory power. You develop quite some ability to retain information. When I was really into that practice, I could hear a person's name only once and I'll remember it. I had a whole classroom of students and I handed out their books, called their names out, handed out their books. So I saw the name, I called the name, he said, okay, here I am. I brought him his book, or him or her his book. There was about 30 students in the class. And after that, I knew their names and they were quite amazed. How can you remember my name? But so that is the practice that I'll have to share with you. As I said, or I'm not sure if I actually said it, is I'm not going to tell you what you see, what I saw, because I think your interpretation is probably going to differ from mine, so you're going to construct your own image. But there was another thing that happened. As I approached this being, I sensed a female entity coming in from the side. Now, I never saw her. I think she came in from my left side. I never saw her, I never looked at her, and she invited me to go with her. And I actually did that twice. And what happened is she took me, it's like flying above the earth. It just kept on going and going and going and going. Sorry. And eventually she showed me some geological features. I didn't understand it. And as I said, I did it another time. Showed me something else, and then I said to her, no, I rather want to stay with this being of life, this angel of life. I love to just sit next to him. As I say, it's quite an experience. You get quite emotionally experience, and you can spend hours just sitting there. I suspect this is the meditation practice that where you get yogis just sitting there for weeks and days on end in this meditative state, not moving. You just don't want to leave this being's presence. I think Sadhguru himself sat for 2 weeks in a meditative state. Meeting this being will have a profound effect on your life. Your whole view of life will be changed. One effect is, after you met this being, very little in life can disturb you. You just see it as it doesn't really affect you. All this nonsense of life is. So The life that's in you, you'll sense it in other beings. So you'll have respect for that life. So this namaste will make a lot more sense to you once you have this experience. But it's not an easy path. You have to work really hard at it. So there's the mental relaxation, or the nervous relaxation. There's the disconnection of the soul. The final step is easy. It almost happens by itself, so that's not a difficult one. Then at that stage I was also doing HRV breathing. So I don't know if that is relevant, but we'll see. What is also helpful is this female that took me somewhere and showed me something. I later realized that is what is called an Akashic reading. That is actually what that is. But it didn't really interest me. I didn't understand it. Maybe I should, but I chose rather to spend my time with this being of life. So in the future, some future videos, I'll expand more on this topic, and I'll tell you what meditative practices you should do, how to do the relaxation practice that we can do together. But as I said, I think it's very important that you work your life centers. Otherwise you can get in trouble, and we don't want that. So that's another motivation for you if you want to get serious about this, to connect and regulate your life centers. That's all for now.